So everyone wants to know, who is the NFL MVP? At first, at one point, it was Josh Allen versus Saquon Barkley, and that was the thing. But a couple other people came into the mix and booted Saquon Barkley right out of it. So I'm gonna give you my takes on who I think should be the NFL MVP. If you agree, comment down below. If you don't agree, tell me why down below. So the three biggest candidates for NFL MVP are Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow. And all of them are having outstanding seasons that if it was just by themselves, they could be an MVP almost any year. But this is one of the tightest MVP races I have ever seen, and only one person can win. So I'm gonna break down what is every single person's case and if I think that person should win or not. First and foremost, let's start off with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is having an outstanding season. Before the season started, I put Joe Burrow as the number 2 quarterback in the NFL, and I got some, flack from that. People said Lamar Jackson should be number 2, which is a fair point, but I like Joe Burrow. I like his style, and I believe he's one of the only people who can really challenge the Chiefs, because every time the Bengals play the Chiefs, it's always a dogfight. But if I read these stats, Joe Burrow is completing 70% of his passes, 4,600 yards, 42 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. That is amazing. Those statistics are great. And when you look at the Bengals play, you don't see that they look like a team that's under 500 or barely 500 fighting for their lives to be in the postseason. The defense is awful. Many times I watch the Bengals play and I see that they give them 44 points, or Joe Burrow throws for 9 touchdowns against the Ravens and gets swept. I mean, the defense is atrocious. But Joe Burrow is having an MVP-like season, and in all honesty, I'm not gonna lie to you. If for some reason, and this is very unlikely because the Chiefs are resting their starters against Denver, but if some reason, if Joe Burrow is able to make the postseason, honestly, he'd be my MVP. Because how the heck did you go from 4-8 to the postseason? That's amazing. Give Jamar Chase some love, because Jamar Chase is a guy who could get the triple crown. But bro, Joe Burrow and that offense and how they're playing and how he's playing, like, I think there's statistics saying that those numbers that he has, everyone who has numbers like that, like the 4,500 yards and 40 plus touchdowns, they're usually the MVP, if not always the MVP. So it's very unfortunate that he has this amazing season and he may not win MVP. Next year, if he wins maybe 5 more games, man, 3 to 5 more games, you got the MVP next year, but I don't think this is your year. I think your chances are really slim. Denver's likely to make the postseason. I think you're cooked. Lamar Jackson. So Lamar Jackson's having an outstanding season as well. He's having a better season than last year, his actual MVP campaign. So if you look at his stats, he has 3,900 passing yards, 39 passing touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He has 852 rushing yards and 4 rushing touchdowns. Pretty sure that's a career low for a full season, only 4 rushing touchdowns. But I mean, the passing touchdowns is amazing. In all honesty, he's having one of the best pure passing seasons of all time. I think he has a quarterback rating of over 121. So obviously this guy is amazing. My thing with Lamar Jackson is that even though right now he is an MVP candidate and he's definitely a guy who could win it, some people are saying, look at his statistics, they're better than Josh Allen's. And then you can make the case though, last year his statistics weren't that good. And with his statistic not being good, he still won the MVP over a guy like, say, a Dak Prescott, who had better statistics pretty much across the board. So you can't really dive too deep with statistics. You have to kind of dive into the context. Like, how important were the wins? How big time were it? And does he have an MVP moment? Lamar Jackson, he's getting a lot of his momentum these last 3 games. When he beat the Giants, he beat the Steelers, and he beat the Texans. The Giants are tanking. The Steelers and Texans have winning records, but they're not good teams for real. You don't really take them seriously. He did beat down the Buffalo Bills, but I honestly think that Buffalo Bills team is different than this Buffalo Bills team. So in my opinion, he could still win the MVP, but it would take something, some moment, maybe in the last game. And I don't know if they're playing their starters in the last game. So I don't know if he can add on to that, but there has to be something that changes it for me. But right now, Lamar Jackson is number 2. My MVP is Josh Allen. And this isn't a Charles Barkley, I'm going to just give it to you because Michael Jordan wins it a lot, because Lamar Jackson has 2 MVPs. The reason why I say Josh Allen is because he has momentum on his side and he has MVP moments. So the thing is, Josh Allen, the last, 6 to 7 weeks, he has been the MVP. It was him and Saquon Barkley, and then it just became him. He's had multiple games where you're like, okay, this guy is the MVP. He had a game where he had 3 passing touchdowns and 3 rushing touchdowns against the Rams and still lost. But that was one of those things was he was doing everything he could. The Rams were beating the heck out of the Bills, and they came back. And the big reason they came back was because of his efforts. The only reason he didn't complete the comeback is honestly because his coach, for some reason, called a timeout at the end of the game so they couldn't have all 3 of their timeouts. So they could, stop the clock against the Rams. I don't know what the reasoning was, but that was such a stupid thing by their coach. But the big moments that he had, It was against the Lions and definitely against the Chiefs. The two best teams in the league, Josh Allen has beaten. The Chiefs have one loss, the Lions have two, and they both from the Bills. That's big time. He going into Detroit and beating the Detroit Lions is a big time deal. That's a huge win. And you can say it's a team thing. Yeah, it's a team sport, but it's a huge win. I honestly didn't think the Buffalo Bills would even make the playoffs this year. That was my bad hot take. But the fact that they're a 13-win team, they lost Stephon Diggs, and they become a 13-win football team, and they're playing like this, and their offense has 8 straight games putting up 30 points. Yeah, I give it to him. Also, against the Chiefs, the one loss that they have is against Josh Allen, and because on a 4th and 1 or 4th and 2, he takes the ball himself, and instead of, if they kick a field goal, Patrick Mahomes gets the ball and kills them. I'm being honest with you, and he knows that, and the team knows that. They can't kick no field goal here. We need to score a touchdown. He gets the ball and he runs it for an iconic touchdown, and that is an MVP moment. I don't think Lamar Jackson has that. He has a moment. He has that cool run against the Texans where if you pause it, has that really nice frame, but he doesn't have that epic, iconic moment against one of those teams. His division is harder. The Ravens have a hard division. The Bills have an easier division. But to me, it's all about momentum and moments. That's what makes an MVP more than even stats. So even though the Bills did lose to the Ravens all them, weeks ago, all those months ago, the Texans also beat the Bills. Do you honestly think the Texans would beat the Bills now? The Texans wouldn't even come. The Texans would get destroyed by Buffalo. I think Josh Allen should win this MVP, barring something crazy happening in the final week. It's a very close race, but honestly, I think you should give it to him. Give him that MVP, and let's see what he does with that award. Let's see if he makes a run and actually gets to the Super Bowl. Honestly, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, when they're at their peak, they can beat anyone as well. So it should be a very fun postseason, but I'm going to give it to Josh Allen. What do you guys think? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think I'm right? Like I said, I'm off momentum and moments, the 2 M's. And Josh has hit him, in my opinion. But if you think Lamar Jackson is better momentum or is better moments, comment down below. Tell me why. If you agree with Josh Allen, tell me why. And if you're a Cincinnati Bengal fan, you think Joe Burrow should be MVP, tell me why. Comment down below. Also, please help support me and the sponsor, Boom Fantasy. All you have to do is put the promo code Sports Factory, the link in the description. Once you put that promo code Sports Factory, up to $100 that you put in risk-free, you just put a deposit up to $100, you get your money back. So it's a gift from us to you. So come support the channel. Go to Boom Fantasy. Like I said, the link is in the description. And for more content like this, make sure to like this video. Check out the last video that we did right here. And with that, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Y'all have a happy new year. I'm out of here. Peace.